Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Tuesday, August 28th. This is Gina Palma. Today we will see much cooler temperatures, and the morning started off very cold over parts of the northern half of the Great Basin. Temperatures today will warm only to the 70s and 80s in the valleys and 60s in the mountains, which is 10 to 15 degrees below normal in the areas shaded in blue. Tomorrow we'll start to see warmer conditions with light winds, and winds will pick up on Thursday over the eastern two-thirds of the Great Basin with low relative humidity. Over the last 24 hours, with that front that moved through Idaho, we only saw some thunderstorms across Idaho and Wyoming with light amounts of rainfall. Great Basin fire activity was light initial attack yesterday across the Great Basin. Over the last 7 days, precipitation has occurred over the eastern half of the area, and over the last 2 weeks, this precipitation across Utah and the Arizona Strip in some areas was above normal. However, the rest of the Great Basin saw lighter shower activity, which was well below normal. ERCs have changed significantly, especially in the north behind that cold front, with even just the cool temperatures and light amounts of precipitation. ERCs have dropped between the 50th and 70th percentile across much of Idaho, but there are still some pockets that are between the 70th and 80th percentile. Further south, where the cool temperatures and the moisture has not quite reached, ERCs are between the 80th and 90th percentile over parts of northern Utah into Nevada. Looking at 100 and 1,000-hour fuel moisture, which are slower to respond, the top right graph shows 1,000-hour fuel moisture for southern Idaho, showing 1,000-hour fuel moistures still near record lows despite the cooler temperatures and moisture. In areas over eastern and central Nevada that the moisture hasn't quite reached and the temperatures haven't cooled yet, 100-hour fuel moistures are near or below record lows for the time of year. The satellite loop from this morning shows that cold front that swept through the northern half of the Great Basin is now further east into the Rockies, leaving behind cool temperatures, sunny skies, and dry conditions. We'll still have areas of smoke to deal with across the Great Basin as fires continue in the region. Now we'll look at the smoke dispersion forecast over the next couple of days. These are for the afternoon. On Tuesday on the left, with northwest to northerly flow, this has pushed the smoke further south into the basin. However, this will be a very quick reprieve for the north as winds shift back around to the southwest and west, pushing that smoke back up into Idaho and northern Utah and northern Nevada on Wednesday. Looking at the forecast for today, you can see that cold front continues to shift into the northern plains later today with dry conditions and westerly to northwesterly flow across the basin, and no high risk is issued. You can see quite a bit of green on the map now north over Idaho. This will be a temporary change here as temperatures will start warming over the next couple of days. So today, high temperatures are shown in the image on the left, showing 70s in the valleys to low to mid 80s across the northern half of the Great Basin, and highs only in the mid-60s over the central Idaho mountains. Winds will generally be light today, still some breezy southwest to westerly winds over southern Utah, but gusts around 25 miles per hour. On Wednesday, we have another trough dropping into the northwest, but still relatively quiet conditions across the basin with no high risk. But you can see some areas in Idaho are already starting to dry out again. Looking at the temperatures on Wednesday, temperatures increase to the 80s to 90s over the valleys of Nevada and Utah up into southern Idaho, and back up into the mid-70s for central Idaho. Also, morning lows will be in the 30s and 40s tonight, and again on Wednesday night. Wind gusts on Wednesday will start to increase a little bit, but generally be around 20 miles per hour across the basin. On Thursday, this next frontal system starts to move across southern Canada and the northern Rockies, pushing the front somewhat into the northern part of the basin. So we'll see a few cooler temperatures over central Idaho on Thursday, with dry conditions further south. Relative humidity will drop into the teens across much of Nevada and Utah, and winds will be picking up with southwest wind gusts around 30 miles per hour over southern and eastern areas, and also some gusty winds between 30 and 35 miles per hour for central and eastern Idaho. The overall forecast amount of precipitation, obviously no showers to deal with, so no precipitation to speak of. As we move later in this week, we see another system moving across to the north, so we will see kind of that westerly flow across the Great Basin, still no high risk with dry conditions. As we go into Saturday, we start to see another cold front drop into the northwest. Winds may start picking up over Idaho, but generally moderate winds to light winds further south. As we go into Sunday, we'll likely see a breezier day, especially for the northern half of the Great Basin, so we'll continue to watch that. But again, the fuels have been moderated up in the north. On Monday, we'll see that cold front sweep across Montana again, and it may bring a little bit of cooling to Idaho for later in the weekend into the holiday. However, right now it's looking like dry conditions across much of the area. The only precipitation may be in the far south as we get later in the period where some showers and thunderstorms may start returning. The 8 to 14 day outlook takes us into the second week of September, showing above normal temperatures for the south, near to below normal temperatures for the north as those fronts continue to move across northern areas, and then dry conditions for the northern two-thirds of the Great Basin. So these dry cold fronts will mainly bring gusty winds associated with them, but not much moisture. Any moisture will likely be confined to the far south. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back tomorrow for the latest updates.